Welcome, friends. Today, we are doing another fragrance review. Marvellous. That's right, my friends. Once again, I have returned to you this time with another fragrance review. And the fragrance we will be reviewing today is Tom Ford for Men. Now, following my tried and tested trusty technique for reviewing fragrances, I will tell you the notes. Then I will tell you what notes I get the most. And then I will just talk about the perfume until I am satisfied that I've talked about it enough. So the notes for this perfume are violet, Italian bergamot, ginger, basil, mandarin orange, citrus notes, and lemon leaf oil at the top. The heart notes are tobacco absolute, black pepper, Tunisian orange blossom absolute, and Moroccan grapefruit blossom. Base notes are amber, cedar, patchouli, vetiver, oak moss, cypriol, and leather wood. Okay, a big note listing. And the notes that I get the most are the mandarin, ginger, orange blossom, maybe a bit of grapefruit as well. So, let me give you a little bit of background about this fragrance. This fragrance was released in 2007 when Tom Ford launched his brand. Now, it's very interesting to me that this perfume was launched at the same time as Tuscan Leather, Tobacco Vanille, Noir de Noir. But they were in the private line. This was released as a signature in the signature line, one of the first bottles to use this bottle style. My bottle is a quote-unquote vintage, let's see if I can get it to focus, A77 batch code with the gold lettering. Now, what that means is it's one of the original, because they changed the batch codes from gold to white later on, and the fragrance was reformulated, okay, and made thinner, frankly. A lot of people complain about performance issues with this fragrance. Mine's the older one, and I can tell you it doesn't perform that well either. So them watering it down, there must have been, I know in 2014 there was a lot of restrictions came in, so that must have affected this fragrance and made it even thinner. It ended up getting discontinued, unfortunately. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. Why I say it's interesting that this was released as one of the original Tom Ford lineup is because it smells a lot like Gucci Envy. To me, this smells a lot like Gucci Envy. It also smells like something else that was out and about at the time, which is Vera Wang. Vera Wang for Men. Was it Vera Wang for Men? Yes, it was Vera Wang for Men. I've actually got a bottle, but it's sitting at the back. This kind of ginger, mandarin orange, ambery, fresh, slightly fruity kind of thing, you know, they all had that in common. But I will review this. I will talk about this and this only. Needless to say, this DNA was doing the rounds. And because Tom Ford had released a fragrance which to me smelled a lot like this before, when he was at Gucci Envy, that says to me that he really likes this. This is something that Tom Ford really likes, and he called it For Men. So this is what Tom Ford, I'm inferring here, thinks that this should be for men, you know? And it starts with this kind of syrupy, sweet, fruity, slightly roundy mandarin opening. And I love mandarin. Mandarin is my favourite citrus, but this smells like mandarin syrup. You know, I don't even know if you can get mandarin syrup. Probably not. But if you could, that's what the opening smells like. It's then breached, that thickness is then breached by ginger and a sharp lemon. Or lemon, or like a ghostly lemon, you know? It's not like, it's not out and out lemon. It's lemon light. Thank God, because I don't like lemon. And that stops it from becoming too much. Because to me, the similarity between the mandarin orange and the grapefruit and the Tunisian orange blossom, they're not much of a muchness at all, because they're all very nice, apart from the grapefruit. I'm not a massive fan of grapefruit, but they're all very thick and rich and fruity and dense. So they need something a little bit that will thin them out, that will give them some kind of point. You know, will give them, it will put an edge on them. Otherwise, it's going to get too rich. It's going to get too, rich is the right word. It can get too narcotic. You know, it can feel a little bit much, make you feel a bit queasy when there's something so syrupy and rich and dense and thick. This uses the trick of bringing in Tobacco Absolute, as does Dolce & Gabbana's Pour Homme, the vintage one anyway. That gives it some weight, gives it some gravity, brings it back down to earth so it doesn't get too heady, you know? It doesn't get too thick and dense and take you away and out of yourself, but give you vertigo at the same time. It's kind of, it gives it this kind of density and this clarity from the Tobacco Absolute. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. Sweet, rich, syrupy, fresh, thanks to that lemon leaf, and the ginger as well gives it a little bit of sparkle. The mid is much less dense and much less heady as it dries down. That kind of sweetness overload, that richness, thickness kind of wears off a bit. Patchouli comes out a bit more, but not like an earthy patchouli, more like a clean patchouli. There's amber in here, and some cedar wood, a little bit of woodiness to provide again some more of that grounding along with the tobacco. Unfortunately, a lot of this happens within 4 to 6 hours, which is painfully short. Painfully short. The performance on this ain't great. You can see I've used enough of this to know what the performance is like, and I've tried to encourage performance by spraying a bit more, and it doesn't work, unfortunately. Aftermarket prices on this are insane. I can only assume that is for the nostalgia factor, which we have learned over the years that is a major selling point or a tool that brands can use to sell perfume, and they've cottoned onto that now. But the aftermarket for fragrances like this, especially discontinued Tom Fords, because he always discontinues the best ones. But not in this case, for me. I don't particularly like this. I think it's too sweet, especially if you're older. This is a young man's fragrance for me. Too fruity, too syrupy, too rich. And I'm not surprised to see that it's gone. Had a flanker called Tom Ford for Men Extreme, which was very nice, more ambery, dark. But yes, I've decided to sell this, and so I thought I would review it before it went. A good fragrance, better than a lot of stuff that's being released today, but not great. You know? So I hope you won't pay the exorbitant prices after market, and I will see you all again soon.